Most seniors are making a dangerous vaccine mistake without knowing it, and it could weaken their immune system over time. But there's another vaccine that can dramatically support your defenses as you age. Today, I'm breaking down what to avoid, what to prioritize, and why it matters more than ever. Now listen carefully, this isn't about fear, it's about being informed. Your immune system changes with age, and not all vaccines affect your body the same way anymore. Some may be unnecessary for you. Others, absolutely critical. You might think you're doing everything right because you're following the same vaccine advice you've heard for years, maybe even decades. But here's the problem, your body today is not the same body you had 10 or 20 years ago. And when your body changes, your immune response changes too. Most people don't realize that vaccine recommendations evolve over time. What was considered essential in the past may no longer be necessary for you today, or it may need to be adjusted based on your current health. Yet many seniors continue following outdated schedules simply because no one has told them otherwise. It feels safe, familiar, but familiar doesn't always mean correct. As you age, your immune system naturally becomes less responsive. This is called immunosenescence. In simple terms, your body doesn't react as strongly or as efficiently as it used to. That means some vaccines may not produce the same level of protection they once did. At the same time, your body may also respond differently to certain ingredients or formulations. This is where things start to matter more than ever. Another issue is that guidelines are often generalized. They're designed for large populations, not for your specific situation. You might have underlying conditions, nutrient deficiencies, or chronic inflammation that change how your body reacts. If you're still following advice that was given to you years ago without reevaluating it, you could be missing a more updated and personalized approach. There's also the factor of medical progress. New research comes out constantly. Vaccines are updated, some are reformulated, others are phased out or replaced with better options. If you're not staying informed, you may be relying on recommendations that don't reflect the latest understanding of how to best support aging immune systems. Let's not forget another key point, risk versus benefit shifts with age. When you were younger, your immune system was more adaptable. It could handle stressors more easily. But as you get older, your body becomes more sensitive. That doesn't mean vaccines are bad. It means timing, type, and necessity matter more. You can't apply a one-size-fits-all rule anymore. Many seniors also assume that more is better, that if a vaccine exists, they should automatically take it. But that's not always the case. The goal is not to overload your system. The goal is to support it intelligently, and that requires updated information, not outdated habits. Another subtle issue is that healthcare conversations are often rushed. You might not get a full breakdown of what has changed or what applies specifically to you. So decisions get made quickly, sometimes based on routine rather than careful evaluation. Over time, this creates a gap between what your body actually needs and what you're being told to do. And here's something most people overlook. Your lifestyle plays a huge role. Diet, sleep, stress levels, and overall health all influence how your immune system behaves. If those factors have changed over the years, and they almost always do, then your approach to vaccines should also evolve. What matched your lifestyle before may not align with where you are now. This is why staying updated is not optional. It's essential. You don't have to become an expert, but you do need to ask better questions. When was the last time you reviewed your vaccine plan? Has anything changed in your health? Are you taking into account your current immune strength? Because the truth is simple. Outdated advice doesn't just sit there harmlessly. It can lead to decisions that are no longer optimal for your body. And when it comes to your immune system, small differences in approach can create big differences in outcomes. The goal here isn't to reject vaccines. It's to use them wisely based on where your body is today, not where it used to be. As you get older, your immune system doesn't just slow down, it becomes more unpredictable. Some parts weaken while others become overactive. This imbalance changes how your body responds to stress, infections, and yes, even vaccines. What once felt like a simple, routine decision now requires a little more awareness. A weakened immune system doesn't always mean you feel sick every day. In fact, many seniors feel fine on the surface. But underneath, there may be subtle signs, slower recovery from illness, frequent fatigue, or lingering inflammation. These are clues that your immune defenses are not as strong or as coordinated as they used to be. When your immune system is in this state, it doesn't respond to vaccines in the same way. Sometimes the response is weaker, meaning you may not get the full intended benefit. Other times, the response can feel stronger or more uncomfortable because your body is reacting differently than before. This variation is important because it shows that your immune system is no longer as predictable as it once was. There's also something called immune exhaustion. Over time, especially if you've dealt with chronic stress, poor sleep, or long-term health conditions, your immune system can become worn down. It's still working, but not efficiently. In this state, your body may struggle to mount a balanced response. That means you have to be more thoughtful about what you introduce into your system and when. Nutrient status plays a big role here too. Many seniors are low in key vitamins and minerals that support immune function, like vitamin D, zinc, and magnesium. When these are lacking, your immune system doesn't have the tools it needs to respond properly. So, even if you're following all the right steps on paper, your body might not be able to carry them out effectively. Another layer to consider is inflammation. As the body ages, low-grade chronic inflammation becomes more common. This is sometimes called inflammaging. It's like a constant background noise in your immune system. When that noise is present, it can interfere with how your body processes new challenges. Instead of responding cleanly and efficiently, your system may react in a more scattered or exaggerated way. Medications can also influence immune strength. Many seniors take prescriptions that affect immune function, either directly or indirectly. Some may suppress certain responses, while others may alter how your body handles inflammation. This doesn't mean anything is wrong. It just means your system is more complex, and decisions need to take that complexity into account. Sleep is another major factor that often gets overlooked. Poor sleep weakens immune coordination. Even a few nights of low-quality rest can reduce your body's ability to respond effectively. If sleep has changed over the years, and for many people it has, this alone can shift how your immune system behaves. Stress adds another layer. Long-term stress increases cortisol levels, which can suppress parts of your immune response while overstimulating others. This creates an imbalance that affects how your body handles any additional challenge. And again, this doesn't always feel obvious. It builds slowly over time. All of this means one thing: your immune system is no longer operating at full, stable capacity. It's more sensitive, more reactive, sometimes slower, sometimes overactive. And that's exactly why a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work anymore. It's not about avoiding action. It's about being more intentional, understanding that your body needs support in a different way now. That timing matters. That preparation matters. That your overall health status plays a bigger role than it did before. Because when your immune system is already under pressure, every decision you make has a greater impact than you might expect. One of the most overlooked problems is this: you may not actually know what vaccines you've already had, when you had them, or whether you still need them. For many seniors, records are incomplete, scattered, or simply forgotten, and that creates a silent gap in your healthcare decisions. Think about it. Over the years, you've likely received vaccines at different clinics, hospitals, or even during travel. Some were routine. Some were recommended during specific health events. But unless everything was carefully tracked in one place, it's easy for details to slip through the cracks. And when that happens, you're no longer making fully informed choices. This lack of clarity can lead to two extremes. On one side, you might miss something important, leaving yourself less protected than you think. On the other side, you might repeat something unnecessarily, assuming you need it again when you may not. Neither situation is ideal, especially as your body becomes more sensitive with age. Your vaccine history is like a map. Without it, you're guessing. With it, you can make decisions that are precise and tailored. But most people never stop to review that map. They simply follow whatever is suggested in the moment, without asking how it fits into the bigger picture. Another issue is timing. Some vaccines require boosters after a certain number of years. Others are meant to be taken only once or under specific conditions. If you don't know your timeline, you can't accurately judge what's due and what's not. And that uncertainty can lead to confusion, hesitation, or rushed decisions. There's also the factor of changing health status. A vaccine that made sense for you at one stage of life may not carry the same importance today. New conditions, medications, or lifestyle changes can all shift your priorities. But if you're not reviewing your history alongside your current health, you miss that connection entirely. Many seniors assume their doctor has a complete record of everything. But in reality, healthcare systems don't always communicate perfectly with each other. Records can be fragmented. Information can be missing. And unless you actively bring it up, no one may realize there are gaps that need to be filled. This is where personal awareness becomes powerful. When you take the time to gather your records, ask questions, and understand what you've already received, you move from passive to proactive. You're no longer just following instructions, you're participating in your own health strategy. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even a simple list can make a big difference. Dates, types, any reactions you remember, these details help create a clearer picture. And once that picture is clear, decisions become easier, more logical, and more aligned with your actual needs. Another important point is communication. When you know your history, you can have better conversations with your healthcare provider. You can ask more specific questions. You can challenge assumptions if something doesn't seem to fit. This leads to more personalized recommendations instead of generic advice. There's also a confidence factor. Uncertainty creates hesitation, but when you understand your own history, you feel more in control. You're not second-guessing every decision. You're making choices based on real information, not guesswork. And here's something most people don't realize. Small gaps can add up over time. Missing one detail might not seem like a big deal, but when multiple pieces are unclear, the overall picture becomes distorted. That's when decisions start to drift away from what's truly best for you. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. Because once you have clarity, everything else becomes more precise. Your actions become more intentional, and your approach becomes smarter, not just routine. Without a clear understanding of your vaccine history, you're essentially navigating in the dark, and that's a risk you don't need to take at this stage of life. There's one pattern that shows up again and again. Many seniors are focused on the vaccines they've always heard about, but they completely overlook the one that may be most relevant to how their immune system is changing right now. Not because they don't care, but because no one has clearly explained why it matters at this stage of life. As you age, your immune system doesn't just weaken, it becomes more selective in how it responds. Certain threats become more significant, not necessarily because they are new, but because your body handles them differently now. This is where prioritization becomes critical. It's no longer about doing everything. It's about doing what actually supports your current immune needs. The problem is, most recommendations are presented in a broad, checklist-style format. They don't always highlight which options carry more weight for seniors specifically. So everything feels equally important, even when it's not. And when everything feels important, the truly impactful choices can get buried in the noise. There is often one vaccine that stands out for older adults, not because it's trendy or widely talked about, but because it aligns more closely with how aging immune systems function. It's designed with those changes in mind, yet surprisingly, many people either delay it, overlook it, or don't even realize it exists as a priority. Part of the issue is perception. People tend to focus on what feels urgent or familiar. If something hasn't affected them personally, they may not see the need. But the absence of a problem today doesn't always mean low risk tomorrow. With aging, prevention becomes more about anticipation than reaction. Another factor is mixed messaging. Different sources may emphasize different vaccines, leaving you unsure about what actually matters most. Without clear guidance, it's easy to assume you're covered when in reality, you might be missing a key piece of the puzzle. Timing also plays a role. Some vaccines are more beneficial when taken at a certain stage, before specific risks increase. If that window is missed or delayed, the overall benefit may not be the same. This doesn't mean it's too late. It just means timing should be part of the conversation, not an afterthought. There's also the issue of underestimating how targeted support works. Not all vaccines serve the same purpose. Some are broader, while others are designed to address specific vulnerabilities that become more common with age. When you understand that difference, your decisions become more strategic instead of routine. Lifestyle and health conditions further shape this picture. If you have ongoing health challenges, your immune system may already be under extra pressure. In that case, focusing on what offers the most relevant support becomes even more important. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what counts. Another subtle point is that awareness often spreads slowly. Newer or more targeted recommendations take time to become widely understood. So even if something is strongly supported by current research, it may not yet be part of everyday conversation. That delay can leave many seniors behind the curve without realizing it. This is why asking the right question matters. Not just, what should I get, but what matters most for me right now. That simple shift changes everything. It moves you away from generic checklists and toward a more personalized approach that actually fits your body. Because when you identify the one vaccine that aligns with your current immune needs, you're no longer guessing. You're focusing your energy on something that has a clearer purpose and a more meaningful role in your overall health strategy. A lot of people rely on general guidelines because they feel safe and official. And to be fair, those guidelines are useful. They're designed to cover large groups of people and provide a basic direction. But here's the issue: you are not a large group. You are an individual with a unique health profile, and that difference becomes more important as you age. General recommendations are built on averages. They assume a certain level of health, a certain lifestyle, and a certain response from the body. But real life doesn't work in averages. Your daily habits, your stress levels, your sleep quality, your diet, and your medical history all shape how your body functions. When you rely only on broad advice, you ignore those personal variables. As you get older, these differences become more pronounced. Two people of the same age can have completely different immune strength. One might be active, well-rested, and nutritionally balanced, while the other may be dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep, or underlying conditions. Yet general guidelines often treat them the same. That's where the gap begins. Your lifestyle alone can shift how your immune system responds. If you're not getting enough protein, key vitamins, or minerals, your body may not respond efficiently. If you're constantly under stress, your immune system may be suppressed or imbalanced. If your sleep is inconsistent, your body doesn't get the recovery time it needs. These factors don't just affect how you feel, they affect how your body handles everything you introduce to it. Medications also play a role. Many seniors are on multiple prescriptions, and each one can influence the body in subtle ways. Some may affect inflammation. Others may alter immune response. When you follow general advice without considering these factors, you're missing a big part of the picture. There's also the question of timing and readiness. Your body isn't in the same state every day. There are times when your immune system is stronger and more stable, and times when it's under more strain. General guidelines don't account for this day-to-day variation. They provide a schedule, but they don't always consider whether your body is truly prepared at that moment. Another overlooked factor is past experience. How did your body respond to previous vaccines or illnesses? Did you recover quickly, or did it take longer than expected? These patterns provide valuable clues about how your system behaves. But if you're only following general advice, those clues often get ignored. Environment matters too. Your exposure to sunlight, your level of physical activity, and even your social interactions can influence your immune health. Someone who spends time outdoors and stays active may have a different baseline than someone who is more sedentary. Yet both may be given the same general recommendation without adjustment. The problem isn't that general guidelines are wrong, it's that they're incomplete. They're a starting point, not a personalized plan. And when you treat them as the final answer, you limit your ability to make smarter, more tailored decisions. This is where awareness becomes your advantage. When you start looking at your own habits, your own health patterns, and your own responses, you begin to see what applies to you and what doesn't. You move away from automatic decisions and toward intentional ones. It also changes how you communicate with your healthcare provider. Instead of simply agreeing with whatever is suggested, you can ask more targeted questions. You can bring up your lifestyle, your concerns, and your past experiences. This leads to a more balanced discussion where decisions are shaped around you, not just around a general rule. There's a level of precision that comes with personalization. You're no longer relying on assumptions. You're working with real information about your own body. And that precision can make a meaningful difference in how effective your overall approach becomes. Because at this stage of life, small adjustments matter more. The margin for error is smaller, but the opportunity for improvement is still very real. When you stop relying only on general guidelines and start considering your personal factors, you shift from a passive approach to an active strategy, and that's where better decisions begin to take shape